Welcome back to the Shankly Sessions, the Liverpool podcast we bring you each and every week on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe and bell notification button. Joining me tonight for our Shankly Sessions episode, my partner in crime, Dean Fitz. How are we doing, Dean?
Fucking fantastic, man. Absolutely great to be back on the show. Like, touts missed everything. Tried to do Saturday morning, absolutely hectic in the work sketch, but absolutely buzzing to be back ahead of a massive week for the club.
Absolutely huge week this week. Let's get into it with some news. Obviously, a great win midweek there. The kids out against Norwich in the Carabao Cup. It's great to see those lads getting an opportunity, and now we've drawn Preston North End in an away game in the next round. So pretty good draw as well for us. The kids can continue their good form.
Yeah, great. Another game where you'd expect the likes of Divock and Taki to get a game. Samiskis get more game time. Come here, it's a chance for everybody now. And wouldn't necessarily care who we got in the group or in the draw, but like the last few kind of years, whenever we've got through or progressed in certain cup, we'd be getting the Man Cities or the Chelseas or the Man Uniteds. It's always kind of, so it's nice to, no disrespect to Preston, but it's nice to get a game like that where you get the chance to give lads a game and expect to still win the game. So, as we said, probably 3 or 4 weeks on the bounce with the way the squad is, and we're picking up little injuries here, there, and everywhere. As I said, it's great to get. I hate saying like getting draws like this, but like let's be honest, whatever team, if we put out a team similar to what we did against Norwich, we should be winning convincingly. It's great for Preston as well to get the history between Shanks and Liverpool. You know what I mean? So it's great to have that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Confirmation came in this week that Anfield Road stand redevelopment is progressing ahead. Great news as well that we're really betting in there that Anfield is going to remain the home and we're continually redeveloping it.
Yeah, again, I think we will be the third biggest stadium in the Premier League when this is finished. The only kind of sour thing about was, did you hear Jurgen's interview and talking about, I really hope this is complete for my final season? And when I was reading that, it kind of hit home that he could be gone in less than 3 years. I don't even want to think about it now, but to be honest, when I read that and I heard those words, it really stopped me in my tracks. As like this like when you were younger and you thought everyone lived forever. It's like I want Jurgen to stay at Liverpool until he can't breathe no more. Like, you know what I mean? It's been that kind of a ride with him. But can you imagine the team gets a bit of success? 61,000 fans in the ground just saying goodbye to Jurgen Klopp. We'll talk about that when we come to it. But yeah, it's going to be fantastic. It's more of an opportunity for the likes of us to get over for more games. Hopefully, it might mean that these scandalous travel agents that do the sports tours won't be charging 600 quid to go to a Liverpool game, but it's 149 euro to go to a Man United game. So, there's pros and cons, but it's going to be amazing. It's just the one thing I give credit to FSG for is that they didn't knock Anfield down. We've built onto it. We'll never lose the history that's in that ground. You know what I mean? And whether you put a new stand on top of the Kop or not, it just intensifies the noise levels. And we just hope by the time it comes around, it's still not a case of it's just European nights and the big games when the crowd make the noise, because people are expecting 61,000 fans in Anfield to be going absolutely crazy. You hear all the ex-managers. Arsene Wenger always stands out about the one place you don't want to go to in Europe, and a European night is Anfield. He says you may as well have given up before you even got to the ground. That should be week in, week out. And FSG, as much of a moneymaker it is, putting another 6,000 seats into Anfield, should be looking at 6,000 more fans coming in and trying to pull us over the lines towards more league titles. So, yeah, I can't wait for that. It's going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward for us to go over. I think we're going over 4 weeks Friday. Yeah. I'm really, really buzzing to get over. I remember when we were there for the Everton game and looking at the new stand, and we were right beside the Kop and all, and it was starting to get dark then when the game was finished and all, and it was just amazing. Like the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. So I can imagine what it's going to be like when you're in there and you're looking at the two new stands and the cops in full song. It's just, yeah, hurry up 2024.
Yeah, absolutely. Red sporting a new logo on the back of the jersey last week for the Champions League game. That side-by-side logo. Basically what it is, it's a partnership between Liverpool LFC Foundation and international children's charity Right to Play. And it's using the power of sport to give, deprived communities and children an opportunity to get involved in sport and involved in programs and stuff like that. So again, fantastic from the LFC Foundation, continuing to grow from strength to strength in their support of all these different charities.
Yeah, it's been week by week now, hasn't it? I think we've touched on something new every week with the Shankly sessions. Again, yeah, it's mad when you think back like 15, 20 years ago, probably a lot more recently than that. And it was kind of unheard, not that unheard of, but it kind of went under the radar now, where it's great that the club and they're doing so much for the community and the LGBTQ stuff and stuff like that. It's great that's being magnified now. You know what I mean? It's not just everybody looks at Liverpool and it's that they're from that shithole. Now Liverpool is really back on the global map now, and especially with the success of the team. And yeah, it's just fantastic, and long may it continue.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a little bit of game rescheduling news that I know gave you nearly a bit of a heart attack, thinking it was going to be the Brighton game or something like that, but no chance of that. West Ham versus Liverpool, Sunday, November 7th, 4:30 live on Sky Sports. That's going to be your Super Sunday game. That's good news for us fans. And Liverpool versus Arsenal, Saturday, November the 20th, 5:30. That's an evening game. That'll be another belter to look forward to, especially with Arsenal coming back to a bit of form now. So really looking forward to that one. In terms of results, we already touched on the Norwich game, obviously. The Brentford game, I suppose we have to touch on, especially with that Scouser and our team behind me there, amped up after scoring what a cracker of a goal it was. But disappointed performance overall, and 2 points dropped really rather than a point gained.
Yeah, it was very, 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 very frustrating. Especially since, like, if anybody's watching our show regularly, we talked about last week that even though we're scoring 3 goals at Leeds, we scored 3 goals. It reminds me of, I think it was 2011, 2012, under Rodgers, where we'd score 6, but we concede 3. And it's almost like, not saying that every week it's going to be like that, but it just reminded me so much of that, where we could tear teams asunder and teams could still score 2 or 3 against us. And it just brought me back to that. Look, as we talked about on the review of the game, when you were saying, look, you get the bad performance out of the way before Man City at the weekend, but maybe it is a wake-up call. Maybe we need it to happen. Maybe that's gives people a little bit of a pep in the step when it comes to in front of the goal, because that Salah chance at the end, how every other day of the week that comes into play. It doesn't even take a touch. It's going around the keeper, either side of the keeper. And for him to, can't overly criticise him. He's top scorer in the Premier League. He's 100 goals in the Premier League now solely for Liverpool. Fastest player in the club's history to do it. Just needed to put it to bed now. I'm sure it will give the lads a little bit of a kick up the arse. And we were talking about the changes in the game, and like the likes of Origi and Minamino, having that bit of confidence in them from the game during the week, especially Divock. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, the lads, you have to be using these lads at moments like that when they've had the games during the week, the performances that they've had. Another one that kind of a crazy decision, not such a crazy decision, but you had to, what's the thinking behind it was Curtis Jones, as soon as he scores, getting whipped off. You think that you'd hold him on for 5-10 minutes, let a bit of momentum build. He looked a bit amused himself coming off the pitch, but I'm sure it will be put to bed now. We're going on. Well, I'm going on as if we lost 5-0 and we dropped 3 points away from home. It's a point gained at the end of the day. It didn't feel like it at the time, but we're top of the league. Man City coming to Anfield now on Sunday is a massive. Every game is a massive game, but this brings you back to like those games towards the end of the season where it's neck and neck going for the league. It really has that feel about now. Chelsea had no answer for City on Saturday. So I'd say a lot of people are going to have us as underdogs for Sunday, considering how City like kind of just held Chelsea at bay, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
I'm very, very happy with that, because I think a lot of people are writing us off. Like Gary Neville's gone on about Chelsea week in, week out, week in, week out. Heard very, very little of him after that performance at the weekend. You know, all the talk of the pundits is now City are back to the best, and you know it's their title. They're basically saying it's City are at the top now, and it's everyone else chasing them again after one game. But hopefully Keita is back. I thought he's been fantastic for us since the season started. But you know, for a full strength, Robbo, as you said, to get that bad game out of the way. Robbo didn't perform. Trent didn't perform. The two guys at the back, Matip and Virgil, had an off day. Fabinho wasn't his usual self. The boys up top, I know Jota and Mo scored, but Mane again kind of looking a bit bewildered up there. So I'm sure the boys will be really, really fired up. I'm sure the fans are going to be outside the ground like it's coming into the run-in at the end of the season. No, it's going to be a massive, massive game, and I'm quietly confident. I'm quietly confident.
Yeah, I think, as I said to you during the match reaction, I think if there's ever a game where you want everyone to drop the ball but not lose, that was the kind of game to do. We don't want it to happen against City, where they absolutely give us an absolute pasting, you know, and especially not at Anfield. But massive game coming up before that Tuesday night. I dropped a preview today on the network, a Porto preview. But coming up tomorrow night in the Drago into the Lions, then we face Porto. I think Jurgen will ring the changes tomorrow night. I think there'll be a change. I'm expecting at least 2, if not 3. News out today is that Keita trained today and he's over the foot injury and he's available and he's in the squad that's heading over to Porto. So that's good news, both for tomorrow night and also for the City game. Touch wood. Because we were missing that, weren't we? That's what we were missing at Brentford, weren't we? That bit of creativity.
That bit of creativity, that bit of guile, you know, it was a big game to put Curtis Jones into as well. Like, no disrespect, I'm not saying Brent, like I did say in the review of the game that, you know, regardless of, you know, who we were missing through injury, which was only Keita and Thiago, that like you would still be expected to put Brentford to bed, even if it was to win by the odd goal in 3 or the odd goal in 5. You know, I did think we'd kill the game off once we turned it around. But you know, looking at the game tomorrow night, I do think it'll be a bit too soon for Keita, and obviously the Thiago one's looking a bit more serious than we thought now, is it?
Yeah, he's out till after the international break.
Yeah, you know, so that'd be a massive loss, I think, for the City game. But like, Kate has been fantastic. I think he's been a real workhorse since he came into the team. Like he knows this is his do or die season now. You know what I mean? If he can stay fit, you know, and seeing Jurgen was saying he got injured kicking a blade of grass, and he laughing to himself about and all. But now he's been immense. And looking at the Porto team, or the Porto squad, like it's not the Porto squad that we went to 2 years on the bounce, and I think we scored 8 on aggregate in both games. Like they've got some serious players in the team now. Pepe, Wendell, Chancellor and Bembe. Their midfield is, on paper, looks really, really tight. You know what I mean? And then we'll have Marco Grujic, who'll be in the middle of the park, and he'll be looking to make a statement and tell Jurgen Klopp that he made a mistake.
The boy up front, Tartemi, is a serious player. Yeah, and Diaz.
I think he might throw it out. I think he'll go with Konate and Van Dijk tomorrow night. I could be wrong, but I think he'll put Van Dijk and Konate in tomorrow night. I think he might go with Samiskas left back. And then I'm expecting Bobby to come in. You know, we can't really take too many chances with the starting 11 tomorrow night. We need to get over there, get the 3 points. You know, would a draw be a bad result? Wouldn't really be a bad result, depending on the other game in the group, which I'd expect.
Atletico.
Yeah, I think Atletico will have too much for AC Milan, but on paper that's a very, very tight game. Once we don't lose tomorrow night, once we don't lose tomorrow night, boy, I'm expecting us to go there. I'm expecting us to come out probably 2-1, 3-1 winners.
Is there a case for playing the team that played against AC Milan? I mean, would you throw Origi in there? Would you throw Joe Gomez back in there with Matip at the back and maybe protect Virgil and Kanate or whatever it is for the City game?
Yeah, because Porto are going to be setting up thinking that they're going against the three boys up top. You know what I mean? They're going to be setting up. They're going to be expecting a strongest 11. And I don't know about playing Minamino and Origi, but I definitely do think Origi will start tomorrow night. And I think that might throw them off a little, because I can guarantee you, since that AC Milan, or since the first round of the Champions League fixtures, they've been just working on how to prepare and how to deal with the three boys up top. And what can they do in the middle of the park to nullify Fabinho, Henderson, and who plays in the middle of the park? Does he go with Milner? Just to have that bit more steadiness in, or does he throw Curtis into the Lions then again? You know what I mean?
Or is Keita available?
If Kate is kind of touching on full match fitness, they keep him and hold him off till the City game, because I can see him really doing a job in the middle of the park, because you'll obviously have the midfield, you'll obviously have Fabinho doing what he usually does, and you'll have Henderson kind of just sitting in front of him, like trying to hold ship. But I just think Keita, I don't think Pep will know what to do with Keita in the middle of the park, because Keita's a bit of a live wire, you know what I mean? When he gets going, he's all over the pitch. And I think in past seasons, it's always been a case of how do Liverpool deal with City's midfield, because on paper, City's midfield is absolutely fantastic. We know how good they are if they turn up.
Yeah.
But I just think if they come to Anfield and we play Keita, and Keita has the game that we know he has in him, I think that may make Pep wonder and think, right, well, do I need to hold someone deeper to hold him off? Because if they go at us, I do think we'll score 2 or 3 against City.
Yeah. I wonder is Klopp trying to pull a Pep on this? I wonder, would Thiago be available on the day? And he's just saying he won't be available until after the international break. You know the way Pep always spoofs about his squad and stuff like that, and injuries and stuff.
Yeah.
I wonder, is Klopp going to try to turn the coin on him? Be an interesting dynamic, wouldn't it?
Be very, very nice, because Thiago against Leeds was absolutely awesome. We talked about it at the start of the season, saying like, this is a big season for Thiago, and there's a lot of doubters there around him. And when the lineups for the Leeds game came out, I think a lot of us thought we could be overrun in the middle of the park here, and Thiago just ran the show. And it'd be just, how nice would it be to have that Thiago named in the 11 on Sunday? Nobody's expecting it whatsoever, except me and you now. But how nice would it be though to have a player? I'm not saying that I don't want Keita to start, but either or I'll be happy with. It's a big game. If the two boys aren't fit and it's Curtis Jones going in the that's a game that could make or break them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll definitely do a Liverpool City preview, but I wonder with that City back line and the size and the strength that's in it there with Diaz and Laporte and potentially Stones, maybe if he works his way back in. I wonder, is there a case for the strength of the size of an Origi to go in there and create a bit of mischief?
That's what we miss, isn't it? I think we're quite one-dimensional up top, because we don't have that big target man. We don't have a Drogba or a Diego Costa. Divock, he's shown that's what I'm saying. When I'm critical of Divock, it's just a case of when Liverpool are playing that full fluid, rock and roll football, when the three boys are on fire up top, you always just look at Divock and say, well, if one of them goes missing, he's not going to suit the style of play. But I've always said that, when things aren't working out well for us with the three boys up top, that we don't seem to have a plan B. And the way Man City are compact and they set up, that could be the game to throw in Divock, because he's great in the air. We've seen what he can do with the ball in the air, you know what I mean? So that could be the game to surprise everyone, including every Liverpool fan under the sun, and say, there you go, lad, here it is, your big chance.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking in terms of City, and we will do a preview, but I'm just thinking with Mane, it can be quite predictable. With Salah, it can be quite predictable in terms of our play. But I just think, obviously, when you put Bobby in there, Bobby's kind of very unpredictable in the way he plays because of his skill and stuff like that. But I just think if you put a big man in there to rough the two boys up a little bit and maybe create a bit of madness in there in the middle, it might open up a couple of opportunities for the two boys on the side. I mean, it depends what way he wants to go with Mane. I mean, you can look at Mane's form at the moment and you could say maybe he needs a bit of time out of the team and give someone else an opportunity, So I just wonder, and then Jota, of course, Jota has that kind of nastiness about him as well, isn't he? That you'll need against a City as well, like that Bernardo Silva type of player, but up front, So that could be an interesting dynamic as well.
Interesting dynamic, Niall, could be that Bobby may play. We've talked about this quite a few times, but Bobby could play in that Curtis Jones role. You know what I mean, behind the attack. But we're just touched on Sadio there. Like, I love Sadio. I love everyone in the team, but I do think it's time that he is given a rest. You know what I mean? He needs to kind of. He's hitting 10 shots on target to get one goal. And you can see the frustration building up. We talked about it a lot. We've practically talked about it since the season finished. I don't think you find anybody who doesn't want Sadio to get back to his old ways. Obviously, Sadio gets back to his old ways, the teams have a better chance of being successful. But I do think that it won't do him any harm to probably drop him tomorrow night and maybe play him tomorrow night, and see how he gets on tomorrow night and then rest him against City. But if he plays tomorrow night and then goes out and scores one or two or gets a hat-trick, he has that hunger in his belly again. He's running with like 100% adrenaline run through his veins, and then start him against City. But it mightn't do him any harm, to play Bobby through the middle and play Jota with Mo, because it shouldn't always be Bobby. I know Bobby was out injured, but Bobby's my favourite player. He always will be. But, it won't do. It's not going to do anybody any harm for Sadio to be on the bench and have him coming off the bench with that hunger and wanting to prove people wrong, because it's at Anfield. Can you imagine if he's sitting on the bench, the game is level or a goal up, he's coming off for the last 30, 25 minutes. The place is going to be electric. Baying for blood, screaming for him to come on and kill the game off. And over the years, we've seen that he's fucking lethal at that when he wants to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to be a very interesting tie, that's for sure.
I'm fucking buzzing for it.
Yeah. Let's talk about player watch at the moment. Obviously, the talk is that Thiago will be out until after the international break, but I'm just still to be convinced. I'm not too sure that that's the case. Keita's obviously back. He had that foot injury, but he's back in training at the moment and he's with the squad heading to Porto. So that could be an interesting dynamic, maybe either to start or as a substitution, depending on how he's looking. As you said, Bobby is back in training. James Milner and Neco Williams have returned to training as well. But Joe Gomez with an interesting quote there during the week saying it was an absolute honour to captain the side. I thought he looked great as captain as well. I thought it was brilliant.
Just class with the little afro going on and the beard, and he looks like he's grown up. Remember when he signed from Charlton? He looks so grown up now. He looks fully embedded into like what the club means. Him and Virgil are like brothers. It just came full circle for him, because a lot of people thought that he wasn't going to be good enough to stick it out at Liverpool, and we could be looking in how long is he there now? 5 years? Something like that, yeah. Better something like that. Like in a few years' time, we could be doing the 10 years of Joe Gomez, because so the same with Jordan Henderson. A lot of people thought, look, this fella's not cut out, and Joe Gomez has really stuck it out, and you can see that he hasn't lost that yard of pace after being out for a full year. And we're having Konate there and having Matip back, and the boys getting that chance to rotate, and they're still picking up that match fitness. It's really, really, it's great to see boys coming back from injuries like that, especially someone like Joe Gomez, because he's very endearing to the fans. You know what I mean? There was talk of him when Konate was coming in. There was talk, and there was a few whispers from lads I know in Liverpool saying that they could try and push Gomez out the door. But on his day, I think at right back we were highly critical of him at right back, because he seemed to always allow the ball to come over his head. He'd always allow it to come to the opponent. He'd done it against Leroy Sané of Man City. Lucky enough, we got the win, but he seems to have learned from his mistakes, and then he's playing with the best centre back in the world. On his day, the best right back in the world. On his day, the best left back in the world. On his day, the best goalkeeper in the world. And Joe Matip is now fucking push over either a centre back. So when you're playing with guys of this caliber at the back, it's only going to make yourself better. But now, I'm buzzing for him to come back after an injury like that, and I think it's as good a moment it was for him to captain. How good is it for fans to see another person wearing the captaincy?
It's mad, isn't it? Like I listen to you talking there from a defensive point of view, and I'm thinking, all the stuff that was going on in the summer about transfers and not signing players and all this kind of thing. And I'm thinking, when you think about last season's defense, and now you think about this year where we are defensively wise, we've got so much cover, so many great players. And like Tomiskis after stepping up, Kanate's after coming in, looks decent. Joe's there, Matip's there, Virgil's there, Trent's there. Neco Williams is coming back. Like, we've so many, not Williams or not Phillips is still there. We've so many defenders now, and we couldn't find one last season.
But what? Even like just touching on the backup and what have you. Another thing that as well, like that we didn't have last year, and another game at the weekend. Now I know that the result didn't go our way, but we've said it for 2 or 3 weeks now that other players and other areas of the pitch need to chip in with goals. There's another midfielder at the scoring at the weekend, Curtis Jones. Now it's not just Salah's top scorer in the league. You know what I mean? The fella is on fire, and I'm always saying if this guy had a bit more belief in himself, he'd scored about 50 goals in the league this season. But like other guys are chipping in now. Yeah, we conceded 3 goals. Are we going to concede 3 goals in a game this season? Maybe, but I wouldn't say that often. You know what I mean? And if these guys keep chipping away, especially with the boys up top chipping away, because we know that they're guaranteed a goal between the 3 of them a game. So, it's great to see everybody's kind of on the same page again. You can see that other than Sunday, everybody was Saturday evening, everybody was good coming off the pitch. Did take its toll, but you can see it in the team again. Everybody's fighting as one.
Yeah, I keep on saying there's definitely a different emphasis this year, and I keep on mentioning it, where people have to chip in with more goals to support the front 3. But between that and the different emphasis on rotation this year, there's definitely a different mindset there from Jurgen and his backroom staff in terms of rotating players, in terms of the expectation they've laid out for players this year in order, goal scoring returns and all that kind of stuff. And they're not just talking about the front 3. So it's an interesting dynamic at the moment. It's something we'll have to watch. But I know if this was last season, apart from the injuries, but if it was the normal case last season, me and you would sit here and we'd be able to tell you 1 to 11 what the starting lineup's going to be tomorrow night and on the Man City game. Now we don't. Now we're trying to figure out, well, what's the thinking behind this, the thinking behind that, what's the strategy? And it's great to see that they're actually thinking very differently than the way they used to think. So that's all good.
Who would have thought this time last year that we'd be sitting here saying, maybe it is time to stick Divock Origi into the starting 11. Why is he not giving Minamino more of a run out? Naby Keita could do a job on Man City. Thiago could play and just rule the roost. Curtis Jones, I didn't think he had the best of games on Saturday evening. I thought it was a bit, trying to pulling out tackles and a bit too fancy like Oxlade-Chamberlain. Oxlade-Chamberlain, there's another player like didn't get a sniff at the weekend. Who would have thought this time last year we'd be sitting here talking about these guys like in a surprise selection coming in, and other teams not being able to deal with it. Like we know what Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain can do on his day. Curtis Jones, we've seen it in the fits and starts what he can do. And he's only going to get better. You know what I mean? Divock Origi, he has an opportunity now. Given a chance tomorrow night, he could put his name into contention for the City game. Minamino is going to be buzzing after the Norwich performance. The cover at the back and all. Now we're saying all this just for a big crash to reality, aren't we?
Yeah. That's why as I'm talking to you here, I'm touching wood here all the time. Like
I actually have wood in my pants talking about us.
Let's round out the show and talk about a young man, but with very experienced shoulders. Caoimhín Kelleher, who made a fantastic save, that penalty. But he was asked about the penalty save and the Carabao Cup ambitions, and his comment was, "It's vital for progress for the younger and fringe players." And I mean, that really sums it up. That's a guy who is well educated in this situation at the moment, isn't it?
100%. You've a coach like John Atchenborough, you have a manager like Jurgen Klopp, you're training with the best goalkeeper in the world 7 days a week. Was absolutely immense. I thought the other night, the penalty save kind of just topped it off with some of the saves he made. Like, and it's not the first time. I think whenever he's being called upon, Champions League, in the League Cup, he's been absolutely sensational. He played a game for Ireland recently, and the two goalkeepers. It's just a shame about the rest of the Ireland team that the two best players they have are the two goalkeepers. That, in my opinion, are absolutely fantastic. We did talk about what to do with him. Do we send him out on loan? For me, he made the best decision in staying at the club. There's no one else I'd rather between the posts if Allison gets injured than Craven Kelleher. I think he's absolutely outstanding. As you said, he's a young man with a veteran's head on his shoulders. Reminds me a lot of Packy Bonner.
Yeah.
You might get people watching and listening that might be too young to remember who Packy Bonner was, but he's very, very commanding. He's unbelievable point blank, great shot stopper. He just doesn't shy away from it. You know what I mean? Whereas, in games where he played in that Champions League last year and you're thinking to yourself, could be a bit too big for him. He stood out like he'd been playing it for 10 years. The league games that he played in, we weren't a man down. You're not panicking, thinking to yourself, is he good enough to step in here and do this? He proved time and time again. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's ahead for this lad. The fact that he's Irish as well is a bonus for us guys, but it's outstanding to see. We've been few and far between Irish lads in the Liverpool team for the last few years. I think the last big name Irish wise was Steve Finnan. So it's great that he's had the chance to come in when Allison has been injured, or when Allison was grieving for his father and all. And long may it continue. I really, really hope this guy is at Liverpool for a long time, because when Allison does step away, I'd gladly have Craven Kelleher stepping in to take up the mantle as number one.
It's mad, isn't it, the way we are as fans now, where we don't have any nervousness really at all about the backup, as opposed to the way we used to be. There's a confidence there now that these players can come in at the right time and do a good job. Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, this has been your Shankly Sessions. Another week, but this week coming up is massive. So, huge game away to Porto on the Champions League coming up, followed by Man City.
Prediction for tomorrow night?
My prediction for tomorrow night, I'm going with a score draw, believe it or not.
Yeah, I was looking at their team. You're obviously gonna say, "Oh, we're gonna win." I was looking at their team, I'm gonna stick my neck out on a limb here. I think 2-1 or 3-2.
Yeah, we won't get our predictions yet for City because we will do a preview.
We might be able to get a City fan. We're gonna have to give someone a ticket for the game or something to get a City fan onto the podcast.
We're gonna just have to knock around to Wayne's house and get him back out again, and maybe do the podcast over at Wayne's house or something like that.
Pull up outside and fucking kidnap him.
Yeah, but as always, this has been your Shankly Sessions, our weekly Liverpool show on the Dynamo Podcast Network. If you want to hit us up on Twitter at Sessions Shankly, on Facebook and Instagram, the Upper Tier. Audio versions of the show on Spotify, Podbean, iTunes, wherever you pick up audio versions of the show. We will talk to you again, and no doubt many times this week with the week that's ahead. Cheers, Dana.
See you later, my man.